Hello. Thank you for taking a few moments to open this up. You might listen to this instead of watch it, or you might do both. My name is Germana Ravanelli, and I am a mind body practitioner, a hypnotherapist, a personal trainer, a healer, a transformational coach. I live on Vancouver Island, and I'm sharing nuggets out of the 4 agreements this week. And I'm still working on the first agreement because it is the most powerful agreement that we can make. I'm sharing bits of my own insight, my own understanding, my own observations. I love to watch people and I listen to what people say, and it tells me a lot about where they're at. Our words, they're like bullets. If I say to you, I appreciate you, I think you're amazing, you're going to feel wonderful. And if I look at you and I go, why did you wear that shirt? You're going to go, ugh, you're going to feel sick inside. And so those are just little examples of how powerful we are and how we misuse our word. And also that if we learn how to be a little bit more mindful and learn to keep our power in the present moment and learn to notice what we appreciate. I love the word feeling supported. If you learn how to be supporting to yourself and to notice where you're being supported in your life, that's such a simple word. Supported to me means cared for, allowed to slow down, allowed to be gentle, to be soft, to have no fear. Most people live in chronic fear and they don't even know it because they're in this defense. They're in this defense, and the mind is just running and running and running and chasing and chasing and chasing. And the mind is not our friend. We only need to use it about 20% of the time. But if you don't train your mind, it will absolutely destroy your life. Absolutely destroy your life. It can give you cancer. It can give you, autoimmune by being fearful and not learning how to regulate yourself, because it will scan for danger. It will make up stories that are not true, but your nervous system will have already released all those chemicals because you're having a thought. Subconscious doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality. And if you have a fantasy about something going wrong, you are actually being poisoned by all of those neurochemicals. Flash, just like that. And you can't stop it once it's started, but you can go back and go, is that true? Is that true? What my brain just said. And you'll discover that if you actually do that, it takes a little bit of practice. It's kind of annoying. It's kind of like babysitting a 2-year-old. They're like, meh, meh. We have a part of us that can be like that. And asking, do I have evidence that this is true? And if you learn to do that, your life will change radically. And about 80% of the energy that you use trying to micromanage the garbage your brain tells you will go away. And it is lovely. So I'm going to share a little bit out of this book. It's called The 4 Agreements. This is still the first agreement, which is to be impeccable with your word, which is to never, ever speak poorly of yourself, to never criticize yourself, to never judge yourself, to never abandon yourself. All of those things sound simple. It's not that easy, because most of what we're doing is we're operating on the program that we were given by our parents. However they were treated, they treat us, and then we pass it on. There's an old saying, what we don't heal and feel, we pass on to the next generation. And we can also break the pattern. So when you stop part of that pattern, you'll still pass on some. You're actually stopping 7 generations worth of negative programming going into your child, and you're bringing 7 generations of potential love, joy, prosperity, abundance to the next 7 generations if your family lineage continues. So I'm just going to read a little bit about this. This is so important. People don't realize how much power they have. And, the person that really opened this up for me when I was really young, 16, was Louise Hay. She has a book called Power Thoughts, and you can heal your life and all of that. And I was like, what? I have some power? And then I realized that I had so much grief that I had been carrying. That a lot of it was passed on generational trauma that I picked up from both of my parents, who were from World War II in East Germany. That's scary. And I had to do a lot of work on myself, and it also turned me into a healer because I understood what suffering looked like, and I understood how to get out of it. And I understood how to give people power instead of just putting labels on them. Labels don't help. It doesn't help. But tools help, and this is a tool. So I'm just going to read and then share and come back. And again, this is something you don't have to actually watch. You can just listen to it while you're driving your car. The power of the word is completely misused in hell. We use the word to curse, to blame, to find guilty, to destroy. Of course, we also use it in the right way, but not too often. Mostly we use the word to spread our personal poison. Think about that. To express jealousy, fear, anger, hatred. The word is pure magic, the most powerful gift we have as humans, and we use it against ourselves. We plan revenge. We create chaos with the word. We use the word to create hate between different races. Look at the elections. Between different families, between nations. We misuse the word so often, and this misuse is how we create and perpetuate the dream of hell. Misuse of the word is how we pull each other down and keep each other in a state of fear and doubt. Because the word is the magic that humans possess, and misuse of the word is black magic, we are using black magic all the time without knowing that our word is magic at all. This is a story in this book. It's called The Four Agreements. You can't really ever know this too well. People go, I've read the book. Well, I said, clearly you're not integrating it because you're running around character assassinating your husband on Facebook. So you're attacking him. I mean, completely out of integrity. Work on yourself. Stop pointing at someone else. Take care of you. Be responsible for yourself. Ask your husband if he needs help before you start attacking him and publicly, which is just really sad. There was a woman, for example, who was intelligent and had a very good heart. She had a daughter whom she adored and loved very much. One night she came home from a very bad day at work, tired, full of emotional tension, and with a terrible headache. She wanted peace and quiet, and instead of saying so, she punished her child. But her daughter was singing and jumping happily. The daughter was unaware of how her mother was feeling. Again, not communicating boundaries. I need half an hour of quiet. Do you mind? Would save this whole mess. She was in her own world, in her own dream, this young girl. She felt so wonderful, and she was jumping and singing louder and louder, expressing her joy and her love. She was singing so loud that it made her mother's headache even worse. And at a certain moment, the mother lost control. Angrily, she looked at her beautiful little girl and said, "Shut up. You have an ugly voice. Can you just shut up?" Imagine that. The truth is that the mother's tolerance for any noise was non-existent, and she had no boundaries. It was not that the little girl's voice was ugly, but the daughter believed what her mother said. This is programming. It's hypnotic programming. Our parents are our first hypnotists. Make no mistake. But the daughter believed what her mother said, and in that moment she made an agreement with herself. I have a terrible voice. After that, she no longer sang because she believed her voice was ugly and would bother anyone who heard it. She became shy at school, and if she was asked to sing, she refused. Even speaking to others became difficult for her. Everything changed in this little girl because of this new agreement. It's poison. It's a hypnotic command. Your ugly voice. Don't talk. Don't think. Don't feel. Those are all ways that we rob each other of our power, and we get to also reclaim it. I choose to honor my voice. I choose to celebrate my gifts. I choose to communicate honestly and genuinely. Whenever we hear an opinion and believe it, this is how we do conversational hypnosis, by the way. People say they can't be hypnotized. I'm like, that's all you really are. If I listen to you for about 15 minutes, I can tell you how you're programmed. We make an agreement and it becomes part of our belief system. I remember I said earlier, our belief system is, BETA, beliefs, emotions, thoughts, actions. So this girl stopped singing because her mother was having a bad day and didn't have the clarity to go, "Honey, I just need it quiet, please." Instead, she tore a strip off her poor kid. This little girl grew up, and even though she had a beautiful voice, she never sang again. And she developed a whole complex from that one message, that one spell. The spell was cast upon her by the one who loved her the most, her own mother. I'm going to go forward. These types of spells are difficult to break. The only thing that can break a spell is to make a new agreement based on truth. The truth is most important part of being impeccable with your word. On the other side of the sword are lies which create black magic, And on the other side of this sword is truth, which has the power to break the spell of black magic. Only the truth will set us free. Gossiping has become the main form of communication in human society. When you hear people doing it, you're next. If you're doing it to someone else, you might wonder, is that really good for your relationships? If you're doing that, you're clearly upset about something and you're spreading poison. It has become the way we feel close to each other because it makes us feel better to see someone else feel as badly as we do. There is an old expression that says misery loves company, and people who are suffering in hell don't want to be alone at all. Fear and suffering are an important part of the dream of the planet. They are how the dream of the planet keeps us down. I'm going to go forward because there's a lot here and I don't want to just read to you. I've highlighted some parts. This is very important. Now imagine this pattern going on a never-ending chain between all the humans on Earth. The result is a world full of humans who can only read the information through circuits that are clogged with poisonous, contagious viruses. You know how a computer can get viruses? Well, people's minds get viruses. If you have a negative belief about the world and yourself and your value and your future, you have been poisoned. You've been programmed to believe something that isn't true, which is mind-boggling. It's a virus. Once again, this poisonous virus is what the Toltec called the mitote. We all have it. The chaos of 1,000 different voices all trying to talk at once in the mind. Even worse are the black magicians or computer hackers who intentionally spread the virus. Think about a time when you or someone you knew was angry and someone else and desired revenge. In order to seek revenge, you said something to or about that person with the intention of spreading poison and making that person feel bad about him or herself. As children, we do this quite thoughtlessly, but as we grow older, we become much more calculated in our efforts to bring other people down. Then we lie to ourselves and say the other person received a just punishment for their wrongdoing. And that is a form of evil. And it's something we can all do. Like Carolyn Mace, she's a teacher that I love. She says, we talk about angels and we believe in angels, but no one talks about demons. And a demon is like a dark thought that you let feed. And it doesn't have to be something you let continue. But if you're dark in your thoughts, you're spreading garbage around. You're hurting not just yourself, but people around you because it's a contaminant. It's like emptying of the bathwater into the house and the bathwater's full of dirt. And so it doesn't have to be a physical demon, but it's something that robs you of joy, robs you of your power, robs you of your ability to develop yourself. That's dark. Consider how many times you have gossiped about the person you love the most to gain support of others for your point of view. How many times have you hooked another person's attention and spread poison about your loved one in order to make your opinion right? We do it all the time. Your opinion is nothing but your point of view. It is not necessarily true. Your opinion comes from your beliefs, your own ego, and your own dream. If we adopt the first agreement and become impeccable with our word, any emotional poison will eventually be cleared from our mind and from our communication and our own personal relationships, including with our pet or our dog. Impeccability of the word will also give you immunity from anyone putting a negative spell on you. You will only receive a negative idea if your mind is fertile ground for that idea. When you become impeccable with your word, your mind is no longer fertile ground for words that come from black magic. Instead, it is fertile for the words that come from love. You can measure the impeccability of your word by your level of self-love. Powerful. How much you love yourself and how you feel about yourself are directly proportionate to the quality and integrity of your word. When you are impeccable with your word, you feel good, you feel happy and at peace. Impeccability of the word can lead to personal freedom, to huge success and abundance. If you take away all fear and transform it into love and joy. So one of the practices that I've taught and learning to build your energy up is by learning how to be present in the moment. And think about present as a gift you give yourself. If you let yourself just breathe in the moment and you ask yourself, You get quiet. You ask yourself to sit down and let a symbol of being present show up. It could be a beautiful light. It could be a butterfly. It could be the sun. It could be just sitting still, and allow yourself just to have that moment, whether it's 30 seconds or 30 minutes of just being in the present. You are actually you are building up your energy. And then if you bring in a symbol that represents joy, I love the word joy, and it can just be a feeling of joy, of love, light, and allow your body to receive it as if it's like bubbles moving into your body. And one that I'm really, really enjoying is feeling supported. If you let yourself have the psychological, then to emotional sensation of feeling supported every day, all day long if you can, I will promise you that whatever chronic issues you have will go away. The person that typically abandons us is ourself, because that's the only person that we're listening to, the voice in our head. It's on and on. And if you then flip the script on yourself and say, I'm just going to learn how to support myself, you can write it down, in the morning. I am supporting myself in the physical area today. And then at the end of the day, you fill that in. I ate good food. I went for a walk. I had a nice bath. I did my laundry. I cleaned the kitchen. Those are ways of supporting yourself. But if you actually put that frame around it, you'll actually feel taken care of, because you're using that word to lift your relationship with yourself psychologically, so you feel like you matter. And most of us think that if somebody else cares about us, our life works. Big error. Because if we let them have that kind of power, if they leave, which they probably will, if they get sick, which is very probable, if they lie to us, if they have a problem and they are no longer happy, now we're a victim, because then we're trying to fix it so we can get our nourishment back. And if you take your power back and go, how am I supporting myself today? Mentally, letting myself grow a little bit. Emotionally, noticing I'm tired, I might need a nap. Spiritually, taking time to learn how to be present. And then to talk to yourself as if you're someone that's really proud of yourself, even if you're scared. Today I was in Canadian Tire and I was exhausted. I'd done a lot of shopping. I was very fried. I was very agitated, and I could feel this emotion of frustration come up. And technically I was overwhelmed. And I placed my hand on my throat. I'm here for you. I'm supporting you. I care about you. And I just, with those little words inside of my mouth, into my body, some of the stress came down. And so what harm would it take for you to go, I'm here for you. I'm going to learn how to love you. I'm going to learn how to support you. What harm? My God, you feel better. You have more energy. You are becoming your own best friend. That is the most powerful thing you can ever do for yourself, and therefore for the rest of the world, because you're actually nicer because you're getting your needs met. So this is me signing off. I hope that I've inspired you to recognize that words are not just random, fleas and mosquitoes. Words are like wasps and hummingbirds. And we've all had those moments where we're so stressed out, it feels like we're being stung by 1,000 wasps or bees. That's because our nervous system is deregulated, because we're saying things that are scary, or we're believing things that are not true. So if you like this, I really hope that it brings you some tool, some power to be who and whatever you want to be. Your life matters. No matter where you are, you matter. And I sending you warm, soft, gentle hugs. And if you like the channel, please share it. Please feel invited to subscribe. I'm really working on developing, more harmony with it. And it's certainly something that's right out of my comfort zone, and I'm choosing to do it anyway. So thank you for your time. Signing out from Vancouver Island. Oh dear.